And they only come to
preaching
marry
is good.
you.
And I know you have done excellent job in standing in the pulpit, explaining, teaching, preaching, doing all sorts of things. Even some of the new
Yeah.
religions that we are seeing emerging, the Pentecostal religions, different shapes and sizes, different people, young people going to this group, to that group, to that group. There is a group somewhere in a group where they are like every service or fellowship, whatever it is, they are in thousands, like 10,000. You don't even have anywhere to park. And the guy there is talking, very good points. Marriage, relationship, love, what? People are clapping. But the same people who are there clapping, and largely the women, they go back to a home that is narcissistic, where the platform for the kind of things that they have had doesn't flourish. Their marriage at home is dead, but someone is busy in the what do you call it? These congregations of of these places where they come, sing, jump, they glorify God, everything God. But there is no marriage at home. There is no marriage at home. The lady who died recently, who was murdered, she was coming from preaching the previous day, and she was talking about relationship.
Yeah.
She was talking about relationship in her preaching that very day when she was murdered. And yet the narratives we see is that she had not spent 10 years with her husband, that they had separated long ago, they were divorce
Yeah.
papers on table. So the people sitting before her when she's speaking, what are they picking? So we can't speak when our actions are different. So who are the
Yeah.
mentors? Now, in one of the churches here in Kampala, I think it is in Makerere, this Saint Francis Chapel.
Yeah, St. Francis Chapel,
Yes,
Makerere.
I have been told, because my cousin wedded from there, the priests are not the one doing premarital counseling. Instead, they choose from the congregation the exemplary couples who do the mentorship, the counseling, premarital counseling. You go through the wedding. Even after the wedding, they continue with you. They attach a few couples around the new wedded couple to have continuous marital support, counseling. Now, I wish that can be emulated by the rest of the dioceses and churches and all of that. It is so beautiful that you have people who will support you. Because majority of these young men and women who come together, they hardly know each other before they marry. And if they have a nyankore, it is even worse. You know, you will be here, they tell you there is someone's daughter you haven't even met, even in negotiations, start cows, move on. They come and take your cows. I mean, you get the woman, you hardly know each other. And you start figuring out what it is that you can do. So you see, you build the relationship. And it never stops until you people die. So I have been in it for the last 34 years. And as I speak, we are here sharing a bucket of salad fruits. Together, we are here.
And I have it.
Eh?
And I have it. That is what brings me. That is what brings
You
me.
are cultivating.
She's here, she can tell you we are eating together. 34 years.
Hey, Papa.
And I have it. That is
Hey,
what.
Papa, can you hear her voice?
You see, Reverend is looking for evidence. Okay, so and I have
Papa,
it.
but can we hear her voice?
Yes, please.
And I have that. This is what brings me to one most important question. I know the times are changing. Culture is becoming dynamic, but our traditions stay the same. Now, what is it that younger generation can learn from you, the older people, in terms of finding solutions when the love gets sour? What are some basic fundamental things that you think are still valid from your generation to where we are now?
Can we first understand the value system? Because Uncle Sam talked about the value system, character building, doing all those things. Do you know? Now you make me remember what I wanted to say at the beginning. That in most of these cultures, what's mine, there is no space for inducting any young man into love issues, no preparation at all. That a young man starts growing, a beard comes, he starts ejaculating, wet dreams, he gets bigger, he knows he has to be in relationships, even girls start tickling him, and nobody, not his father, not his uncle, nobody warns him, prepares him for any eventuality of this thing called love. So we don't know it. In fact, majority of these boys are taught love by their loved ones, by the women. Because in most cultures, the love issues are prepared for ladies. And they are preparing them to receive it, to submit, to do all sorts of things, to expect for a man, when the man she's getting is zero. Is angazi, is not knowing anything, what he's supposed to do. Even the peers that are helping him, the so-called useful idiot boys who are on the streets, making all fun stuff, going out, in, out, bars where, they hardly know anything. They are the ones training your son now. The spaces where men sit and start talking about love and marriage, as an example, the young men who are not married are not there. I see fellowships of of singles. They are called singles, largely by women, young women, but not by men. I pity ladies. I pity them. Because it's so complicated for you to prepare to be in love with someone who is completely blunt about love issues. Where do you begin? How do you ask for accountability, love accountability from someone who doesn't have it? And only the things he has seen is his uncle, his father, who is battering his wife. Things are always sour. The sourness is all around the family, all around the community, and there is no love in the community. And then they start seeing people who pretend. At night they fight, in the morning they wipe tears, they cover the wounds, and they start moving together, going to church. Our men have been confused, seriously disturbed. Godfrey Kutesa is having boot camps. These days they were causing him trouble. By who? Errant women. Why? They are feminizing men. The whole issue about masculinity, building it, parenthood, fatherhood, it has completely gone down. Who is in that space? It's the women. Talking about what men should do. The men are not talking to fellow men about what they are supposed to do. It's the women now talking to men what the men are supposed to do. These are the things that we are facing, Reverend Nathan. This space came because we wanted to make sure we put the right narrative about masculinity, about fatherhood, about parenthood, so that those who are emerging, those who are coming up, the men that are coming up, coming from unparented fathers, when I was coming to Mbarara the other day and listening to this, I don't know whether it was a concoction or real, this parent whose son is demanding 1.5 as pocket money, and the woman only has 500K, and now she's throwing her hands in the air, and she's saying, I don't know what to do with my son. And then they put the voice of the stupid son, and then the son says, I'm going to be embarrassed with my peers at school, because how can I go with 500K when my peers are having 2 million, 1.5 as pocket money? Now, do you imagine this son, this boy has a father? And it is the mother now stepping in to offer the money. Now, where is this boy spending 2 million in a school that is boarding and food is paid for, everything is paid for? Where is this boy paying the money? Where does he spend this money? The 2 million. Money that is equivalent to paying school fees for another boy. This guy wants to splash it around. Is it for elections at school? Is it for shosh? Is it for a prom? What is it for? Even if you wanted to buy kabaragara, nyemvu, every day, one chagu in the morning, another one in the afternoon to complement your meal, your beans and posho, you can't finish 2 million. When my daughter was going to Gayaza High School, I got shock of my life. Parents were coming with suitcases of grab. Suitcases of grab. And it is visitation. You reach in the compound, you have a suitcase of grab to this small girl. And I saw ministers, I saw MPs, I saw ex-CEOs, I saw this, I saw this, I saw these guys, I saw these guys. I saw all these fat men, I saw all these pharaohs, and I was bleeding. The child went to school to study. I wish that suitcase was full of extra books, textbooks. You are bringing food. And what happens to the girls? They are 12 years, 13, 14, 15. Gayaza has enough food, good food. You are adding more carbohydrates, more bread, more what.
And community bodies either.
And then the young girls at 14 years, 15, the cabina is swinging like these other women I see in comedy. She's so young, and yet her body is telling her that you are a woman. She's supposed to be in school, then the men are looking at her, you are supposed to be in the bedroom. The unparented
But
men, unparented
elder,
men. This
elder,
is
in
very
that
dangerous.
direction, the men are supposed to know that the nyash swinging does not mean that they should pounce on her. I think the men should be
Because you are gender
responsible.
activists, Emma, you are gender activists are going to start telling the boys that even if she swings, don't touch her, don't look at her, leave her alone. You see? And you think these guys, the men, don't have hormones? You think God created them to have bodies which are still? How do men respond? Women don't advertise, they don't advertise their love through words. They advertise their love through their body. And Mwalimu spoke about this.
Men are visual.
Men are visual. Men are physical. So they respond. And it's no wonder. And I wish my wife was still here sitting alongside me. She has just moved out. She would tell you because she operated the shop in the tax park here in Barara for many years. That's where she was conducting her business. And she saw, with tears from her eyes, girls coming from home, going to school, but they have to switch taxes. You are coming from Isinjiro, Ibanda, Nyabushozi, Shema, Weya, Rwampara. They drop you in the park. Then from the park, you board another taxi going to your school. Bweranyanji, Maryhill, whatever. So what would happen? The young men come into the tax park. They help the girls. They are in uniform. They start now giving them the small things you see the hawkers carrying. And then they take them to the lodges, near the bus park, near the tax park. Your daughter is going to school. And now she finds a stupid dropout fellow with no sense of responsibility, with no sense of becoming a man, but he's just there getting some money for a day. He convinces your daughter, who even have some pocket money, and they take the girl down, and they go down lodges. They have sex, they bring the girl back, they put her in another taxi, they send her to school. This is what our daughters are going through. Their bodies have grown too fast. and the men look at them as sex objects. And then the girls think this is love. And yet this is not love. This is abuse, child abuse, sexual abuse. But the parents, unparented parents, they look at their children as dolls, as beauty, as flowers, as what, and therefore they think they should continuously beautify. Who hasn't gone to a primary school where there are these little girls of 8 years, 9 years, 10 years, and all their heads have been beautified, plaited hair, braided hair, all these whatever small things, and the parent is looking at the little girl. You are so cute, you are so nice, you are so beautiful. Oh, my little one, oh, my what? And the girl starts growing up expecting that people should always shower her with those same words. In the absence of the mom, when her hormone starts growing at 10 years, 11, 12, the same boys who have been hearing this mother saying, sweet, 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 my little one, will come and say the same words. And then the Kagaru start, raising her Kabina as young as 12 years. I ran a sexual reproductive health project in West Nile. The rate of dropout at P5, P6, not even P7, teenage pregnancies, early marriages, it is alarming. Of girls who are 12, 13, 14, 15. The highest cost, medical cost now in hospitals is conducting deliveries, surgical deliveries in hospitals, which shouldn't be happening at all. So the burden, medical burden, the cost of managing young girls delivering, I'm not talking about the issues now after delivery. What happens? Who looks after the baby? Where is the boy who pregnanted her? That's what the majority of the people here will be asking. Who is not taking responsibility? So who is confusing who now? So the men must wake up, must be put in line, must be mentored, must be helped to understand their responsibility. And responsibility starts by you having feelings of love. Because you are the one to offer it. The recipient is supposed to submit, wait for it, you give it. Back to you, Emmanuel.
Thank you, Elder. As a father who has 2 girls, I think these are some of the issues that usually crosses my mind, and maybe that is what gives me the impetus to do the work we are doing. Because I know you've said I'm a gender activist, but I think there is nothing wrong for me as a father to make my daughter look nice and also speak words of affirmation, because we have also, and we always talk about that when you as a father, you are not in the life of your children, and probably because you've never bought for them a chocolate or a yogurt before, it also becomes an avenue where someone can also use to abuse them. But I like the point where you emphasize on men getting mentored and being responsible. I think this is important. And that is why this platform is here. I see we have a couple of speakers, but some of them keep dropping. Reverend, please keep an eye on them. So, Elder Herbert, I want to have my last 1-2 questions with you, and then we keep moving. I think one of the key things that Sam, Uncle Sam, I'll be coming to you. To Mwesije, I want us to talk a little more on legal aspects. So stay on for me. Mwalimu, you will give us some recommendations to handle some psychological effect. But Elder Herbert, a lot of things that you said, how do we now rewrite the cultural script that usually says that a failed relationship equals a failed man? What are your thoughts on this?
Indeed, it's correct statement. A failed relationship is a failed man. To sustain a relationship, the flow of love is coming from the man. If you abuse the love, if you deny the love, if you have nothing to offer, if in your DNA the love actions are not there, I don't see how the relationship is going to move. It's not going to happen. Because the ladies are the recipients of your love. So if you are not able to offer it, then how does it go forward? And then the other issue, which is also very important for many of our young men, is the whole concept of relationship. So what are the ingredients of a relationship? In many cases, even those days we used to read these books about courtship, what. The whole thing was about how do you prepare someone's mindset, understanding, even skill sets in managing a relationship. I have heard people say, we have been dating for years, dating for 6 years, we dated for 5 years, we dated for this. And I look like, you mean dating is like a low course in Makerere? That you have to be in it. And you study year 1, you study year 2, you study year 3, you study year 4, they give you exams, you come and then do receipts, and then you continue, and then once you think you have finished, then there is another thing called RODC, then you have to go to RODC, then you finish it, then once you have your diploma, then you have to go and register with the lawyers, then you get another certificate, then you are in the 6th or 7th year, then, guys,
And I have that lifelong learning is very important.
that is a failed relationship, honestly speaking.
As if somebody is doing a qualitative impact study. I've dated
Exactly.
for these years.
You have this person,
As
you are
if they are
dating,
doing an
you are still
impact
seeing
study.
each other, you are don't do anything. You are dating year 1, year 2, year 3. People even do PhDs and finish. You are still dating?
That they are dating.
These young men are pana.
Mm.
For me, in that period, I will be having 2 bouncing babies plus twins. Some are even starting nursery school. For you, you are still dating.
Meanwhile, Papa Herbert, meanwhile, they are doing a lot of sex. Abortions are happening. Girls are swallowing these emergency contraceptive pills all the time.
Even abortions.
But
Yes.
in one or the other, people are still
Even
dating.
abortions.
People are dating.
Yes.
Even
Not
abortions,
one, not
people are
2.
dating.
Because now
And
they
in the
start
process,
using.
then in the process, then competitors come in. Then you start seeing new faces you never saw.
You saw.
And the men should know that sperm quality decreases by aging.
Exactly. Then by the time you settle down, you no longer have the sperms. They have been finished. You have
Completely,
nothing
and
to offer.
also.
You have nothing to offer. And then the
You've
woman
been
says,
knocked out home and away.
no pregnancy. Then you go to the gynecologist. Then you go and see these guys. Then they say they do artificial stuff. You are there throwing things that don't even go very far. The bullets are stopping somewhere.
We are dating.
Because you wasted a lot of time without getting
There's something I've learned. I just want to make a statement on what you've just shared. When I was putting together my submission earlier, I realized that actually with what we are discussing, the deeper question also becomes, we're not just talking about when it goes, why did it go sour? The deeper question could also be, what
was it truly built on? What's the foundation? From the word go, what did you set out to build? And how is it going? I'm going to evaluate it. Is it going to where you want it to go? Is it leading to long-term commitment and definitive roles and purposes? Relationships like those are meant to be focused on as there ought to be, or you have an old man in a child's body, a child in an old man's body, and they are still also moving around as a boy, yet actually is indeed what we were talking about last time, running off from responsibility sometimes. And you say you're trying to study someone as though you want to get a PhD in them, yet you have done already good enough, whether it's the damage or whatever, that you need to now make up your mind and commit and get things going. But if that doesn't happen, then who takes the recipe? You damage and later decide to call it off after those abortions, after those seeming commitments, but then that go up to midway. And some men who want to run off from responsibility, who do you want now to take on that person who you have met, who you have hurt, who you have, caused all this pain and damage to this level? And cause them to do things
Yes,
they would
Emma,
have
are you
never
there?
done in their right mind.
Can anyone hear me? We've lost Mwalimu.
Yeah, I think in a different environment.
All right, Mwalimu, hanging tight. Tumwesije, how are you?
I'm okay. How are you?
I am good. So let's talk about legal and some practical reality. Tumwesije, what are the most common mistakes men make when they are acting out of hurt or anger, especially when the relationship goes sour?
First of all, I don't want. I want first to disagree with my elder Herbert and Reverend Nathan
Please do that.
that a failed relationship is a what? Is a failed man.
Yeah,
A failed relationship is not a failed man.
tell me more.
Because let me give you a story. Here is the man. The man is in love with this girl, and he intends to marry this girl, but finds this girl when she has maybe some small business. With that business, the man improves that business to, if it was 20 to 3 million, the man improves it to 20 million. The man finds out that this is the girl who comes from a poor family. He finds out that these people had nothing. The man improves the livelihood of this family out of love. But as the man is improving the livelihood of that woman and the family, he's trying to make sure that they come at the same level, and he's doing everything out of love. He buys apartment for this girl because he intends to turn this girl into the wife. On the day the man is not around, this girl goes and sleeps with another boy, a boy who has nothing to offer, because maybe this is an ex whom the girl had told this man that me and this boy we separated. So really, in that relationship, is it a failed relationship by a man or it's a failed relationship by a woman? So before we start judging men, let's look at every case with its own facts. I don't want to agree that a failed relationship is a failed man. Sometimes ladies cause failed relationships. In that matter, in that scenario I've given you, I think and the man questions himself, where did I go wrong? The man went wrong nowhere apart from this woman who has no values, who I think is a prostitute and has nothing to offer to this man. You
May-
cannot say
Maybe,
that in such
maybe the man, apart from doing all these things, there are certain things that was lacking. I think we should also admit that. But I do
but
agree
let
that we need to
but
consider each case based on its substance of evidence, right?
each case in its own fact, we cannot take it as a sweeping statement that a federationship is a failed man. No,
I agree also.
men are loving and men are good people, and sometimes ladies are the ones who fail them. Now, when
Maybe
sweet
maybe
love that
to
To message,
message.
to message.
yes,
Let me say this:
Mm.
people change. Okay, there can be a potential cause for change, and that's why we say a relationship you nourish it. But from the word that you have stated from the beginning, I wanted again to say and use our Nyankore proverb: "Owashwera abuza." You must do
I agree
very
with
good.
you entirely.
Exactly. So now, do our current men do that background check? Or they meet someone on the street, they think they have married?
I think currently we have a problem, Erda Habat, and I want to agree with you entirely.
With
Where where you find that somebody
But the
meets a
background checks are for both parties. Even
but
even a woman is supposed to do a background check.
yeah, thank you, Uncle Sam.
having a problem where people are meeting on the streets of Kampala, they date. Nobody knows where does this person come from. By the time you get to know where the person comes from, you are either dating a prostitute or you are dating something else. But now, when sweet love turns sour, what can men do?
By the to message.
Yes.
Before you proceed, you are talking about meeting a girl, a poor girl, improving her family. Who has appointed you as a situational improver over a girl that you've not married? I
We
normally
are
thought
showing that we can provide, Reverend.
no, but the
You
girl is not
see,
an orphan. The girl has her
Reverend,
parents. You are not
Reverend
her
Nathan,
parents to message.
You will
Reverend
become a
Nathan,
parent immediately.
as a man, as a man, you see,
Hey,
Reverend Nathan,
mm,
a
as a
Munyankore
man is far.
man, as a man, if you have loved this girl and you have plans to prosper this girl as your next wife, you see, some people date for a purpose. They don't date for sex, they don't date for leisure, they date for a purpose.
Uh-huh.
If you are dating for a purpose, I don't want to assume it is me dating you. I don't want to get a fleet of lawyers, a fleet of Reverend Nathan, a fleet of Elder Abbott, and I take them in a home. When we reach there, they ask me, what kind of a home is this?
So
So if I if
you build a house for your
if
parents in
if
potential
if
parents
I
in law?
if I have loved this girl and she's a
Hey.
potential wife, I see no reason and I see no problem as to why I should not improve her status. So that by the time I take my would-be guests to that home, the home is doing okay. You may disagree with
But
me.
but you are saying as a potential. Why would you
Which
do all those
exactly
before you
could be or
confirm
could
that this
not be.
person is my wife?
Now let me tell you, as a potential reverend,
You are the
don't
people. You
you
are the
don't
people who take girls or women to school, and then after they
eh,
graduate, they find their level and they say you are not my level, and then you
as
end
a
up
potential
committing suicide.
if you're studying to become a reverend, don't you practice how to preach? Do you first wait to be a reverend
But
and then
Humphrey, but
preach?
Humphrey, you are conflicting analogies now.
No, it's the
For you are
same.
investing in
If
someone's future girlfriend because you are the one momentary there now, and it will end in
Marimu,
tears.
Marimu, the day
Yes,
you
Humphrey,
were
go on.
training to become, the day you were training to become a teacher, didn't you do
Did you do
school
teaching
practice?
practice?
Didn't you do teaching practice? So
Humphrey, this
let's look
discussion
at
is closed. Please proceed with your submission.
Thank you. Let me proceed.
Gentlemen, to Mwesije, please grab a grab a cup of water.
Don't practice.
I love
The
this.
guy knows the uniform. The guy knows the uniform.
This is
Okay,
Man Cave UG.
you're protected. Kindly go ahead with your submission.
Thank you for protecting.
Reverend, just a moment. I want to read some of the comments from our listeners. Then Tumwesije can come in. Specifically, Tumwesije, you build up on what are some of the key legal mistakes that men make when they are hurt or anger. I want you to look at it from the point of couples in relationships based on your experience, but also employee, employer, and even between a father and son or brothers. So let me just read a few comments because I would want to make sure that our listeners also feel part of this. So just grab some water. I'm reading from Irene Chigongo, who says that another challenge is not all males or men are not leaders, so we must teach leadership. And I think that is emphasis on what Elder Herbert was saying. And then we go to Danny says, while reciprocity is the name of modern game in terms of relationship, there are a few thoughts that he's sharing that the omniscient designer of that institution laid down timeless principles thousands of years ago, and love without respect eventually turns into negotiation. Provision is often a man's language of love. Appreciation is his oxygen. So in as much as a man struggles to love, we need to recognize that men are wired to self-heal in silence before openly expressing their love. Our mother, Imelda, who wrote the book on masculinity, How Do You Gauge? Elder Herbert was talking more about consistent checking of your gauge to know where you are and what it means to refill it. She says there is one thing that has challenged relationships. Many young men and women spend their 20s hopping from one relationship to another. When do we learn what real love is? What sustains this so-called serious relationship? Birunji says that first thing is men should invest in engaging in tough and hard conversations. The things they ignore are what makes things turn sour. So be ready to talk, listen, and be available. Like the last statement, she says, women are easy to put in order once you are willing to be present. I'll be glad. I think it's the right time for the women to ask for the microphone, and we can have some perspective from their end. Emmanuel is building up on something, but also character building takes goodwill. One has to be intentional about it. Uncle Sam says, when sweet love turns sour, many of us feel lost because we are often taught, if at all we are even taught how to pursue love, but not how to process pain when it changes. That is where I want Mwalimu to prepare and give us some strategies moving forward. The instinct is to withdraw, become angry, replace quickly, or pretend nothing happened. But none of those heal you. It means that we need the best way going forward. Yeah, I think I've done my best to read a couple of them. Anything I am missing? David said, I like Tumwesije. I believe men have no control over women. Women seem to be on a journey of discovery to their death. Interesting. David, as for the microphone, how they feel determines their next move. Please, if you're a woman, ask for the microphone. Let's discuss this. A garden can never be blamed for the bad harvest. This is from Timothy. The farmer is. That's where it is based when they say a failed relationship is a failed man. Man being the farmer and woman being the garden, according to Songs of Solomon. Interesting perspective. Yes. So let's go back to Tumwe CJ. Legal mistakes that men often make when they feel angered or hurt. What have you learned from your experience based on your work that you do? Over to you, Tumwe CJ. Tumwe CJ, now that we need you, your microphone is dancing.
I think it could be his network.
Can you fall off and rejoin? Let's go to Nkumbi.
Nkobi.
Tumwe CJ, please fall off and rejoin. Now we can't hear you. We are going to accept you as a speaker.
And Emmanuel,
Yes.
as Nkobi comes in, Tumwesije has been summoned to the basement at Namlonge Parish this evening. So Nkobi kindly contribute, but as Tumwesije prepares to appear to the basement this evening.
So,
Nkobi, go ahead, please.
So, members in the house, I greet you and Emmanuel as the leader of opposition on Man Cave. It is interesting to be here listening to the good Reverend Senior Herbert, listening to my brother. Emmanuel, I just want to know, having summoned Tumwesije in the basement, is that caution against any likely rebelliousness that might arise?
Don't worry. This is the Man Cave UG.
Don't worry.
Oh, okay. So, very interesting views. But as Pascal has always, I always say that we cannot determine the future in isolation of the past. And we can always say, however much human beings evolve and however much generations come by and go, the past will always have a manifestation in the future. It could be different times, different technologies, different approach, but it is always the same. The principle never changes. The golden rule never changes. So, as always, leader of opposition, I have just come here to use 1 or 2 minutes to explore the history, the genesis, and the evolution of walking away. Someone there, a gentleman or a lady, must be asking themselves on this space that all these gentlemen are speaking, but is walking away a new phenomenon? Is it a new thing? Is it for the 21st century, the 20th century, before Christ or before religion manifested? Were people walking away? Were people getting married? Were people divorcing? When people were cohabiting back then in the year 100, in the year 53 AD or whatever it was, how were people handling this? Because the space is saying when things get tough, and then it's talking about walking away. So we are assuming people on the space are torn in between. Should I walk away? Should I stay? Is it too much? Should I pull the plug? Or should I hang in there, be resilient? I took the vows for better, for worse, for riches, for poor, for sickness and for health. And I signed up to this thing. I can't get out of it. Or on the other hand, I need to breathe. Let the lovers breathe by exiting. So history might help us to explore that position. Let us look back. Time immemorial until 500 CE. Now, 500 CE is usually known as the Common Era, or for simple terms, Anno Domini. What then used to happen? And in brief, by then, we were still looking at the period of the time where there were hunters and there were gatherers in the ancient civilization. So people got into relationships. People not dated, but people got into relationships. People married. People caveated their property in terms of men and women. This is my husband, this is my wife. But as I did give a position last space, it was again for economic reasons, allegiances as well in terms of power, who's the alpha male in that time by then, or also for property and labor, wealth, growth, and contribution. So there were breakups. And separations were normal as well. due to factors like infertility, better oppositions, and incompatibilities, because by then 500 CE or Anno Domini, people are getting into relationships and then literally leaving them. So we explore, then we say, during the Babylon times, there was a law that is called the Code of Hammurabi. That is in 1760, and it was known as the codified divorce law by then, and husbands could just declare, "You are not my wife." So it was very easy for the men to declare, "You're not my wife." All it had to take for you was to declare, come up and say in space the same way someone stands on an apartment in the movie and says, "Good morning, my neighbors." So go up in society, stand up high and say, "So and so, you are not my wife." And then that would be it. You can be free to walk away. So ancient Greece and Egypt and Rome did that as well, same as ancient China. For Rome, divorce was relatively accessible, but let's remember in the early times, divorce was a preserve for the influential, for the wealthy. That is formal divorce if we're looking at their kind of marriages that they had by then that were legal. So ancient China as well, if you could just look at that again, families in China could divorce a wife. You could annoy your brother-in-law or your sister-in-law or something. You as the husband, you could necessarily decide to hang in there, but your in-laws could actually come and renounce your wife or your husband. They say so and so. They say Kaitesi so and so. You have to renounce, Pascal. As you're thinking about it, because you have feelings, they renounce on your behalf. Then we come to 500 to 1700s. Those are medieval times. What then happened? The church comes in. When the church comes in, the church tries to panobate things. The church tries to spread the narrative. Hang in there. Don't leave. What God has put together. Don't separate and all that and everything. So legal separation again was granted. But the only difference is when the church came in, it was tight. Before, not everyone could separate. The people with status would separate. Those that were cohabiting or not legally married per se during those times found it very hard to separate, because for them it was also easy, just walk away and go. Now, when the church comes in, it recognizes it. It says, okay, you guys have taken vows, right? So when you take the vows and then you want to walk away, there was a condition. If it is as a result of adultery or cruelty, even when you walk out of that marriage, you would not remarry. So your bad habits and your behaviors, if you slept with another man or another woman, or if you beat up someone or something, there was that sort of condition that it's okay, you get out of it if you want, but if you get out of it, it will be very hard for you to get into another one. So that was the medieval times, 500 to 1700s, when the modern church came around. So from there, we come to the 19th century, right? And in the 19th century, that is now when we see the rise of compassionate marriages, okay? Now, that is when Western Europe comes in. And when Western Europe comes in, divorce rates were there, but again, they were relatively low. So what then was the new development in there? They got what they call first best divorce, cruelty, then women's property rights as well. Then desertion was called the poor man's divorce. Let's remember, the rich who are legally married, because who could afford that, would divorce. The poor people found it so hard to get out of it, because again, it needed some money to eat. Now, desertion, where you just wake up and leave your family and go, that was the poor man's marriage. 19th century, Western Europe. Let's come to the 20th century. Now, 20th century is 1900 to 2000. What then happened? So in the 20th century, marriage became more about personal happiness. Now, this is where we're saying personal happiness, feelings, emotions, and all that. Informal separations still outnumbered formal divorces, because again, a formal divorce was a bit costly. Informal separations, people part their ways. Some of them just don't talk anymore, and they're there. But in all these generations, we are seeing walking away was there, whether for the married people through divorce or for those who are cohabiting, people are literally walking away. Now, the church comes in, does its thing. It makes it hard. 20th century, again, people are coming in. Informal separations are very many. Take the example of the US in between 1950 and 1970. President Ronald Reagan then signed the No Fault Act, which No Fault Act, whereby for them in the US, they were saying, you don't need to have done anything on your side, whether bride or groom, husband or wife. But if at all you feel you need to walk away, do your thing. Just walk away and go. So if you wake up and someone is telling you, I'm no longer feeling this, I think I should be done with it, let's split and go our separate ways. And again, there were breakups in the dating culture. In the dating culture, it was very easy, walk away, because again, you haven't yet married someone. 21st century, where we are today. What then happens in the 21st century? In the 21st century, we see normalization of walking away. But then we also see a decline in the rates. And then we also see that cohabitation and breakups were having a lot of walkaways, because again, social media comes in, dating apps come in, they literally confuse people, they misrepresent people, and then they give a picture that doesn't really exist. So to conclude in that history and the evolution that I've given, We start from time immemorial, from the hunter's time and everything. Yes, there were sorts of marriages and something for power, for influence, and whatever it is. Walking away was a bit, tricky and hard. But again, people are not marrying for feelings and love. It was political allegiances and whatsoever it is. And at a certain point in time, the poor couldn't walk out of it, the rich could. Government in itself tries to, the example of the US, put in place a law to help people walk out of it, but again, it was costly. The church says, okay, it's okay, you can walk away, but we are putting some restrictions. If you've done this and this, you will not remarry. And the church example, actually, if you remember King Henry VIII, that is where the King Henry VIII had a problem with the Pope by then. Because then King Henry VIII decides to walk away. The Pope says, you're a king, you're a leader, how do you walk away? You took these vows. 21st century, here we are today. Now, having said that, Emmanuel, we also need to ask ourselves, what do the statistics say worldwide? And I always have this question. When people say, just walk away, it's all right to do so. Oh, stay in there, hang in there, it's all right to do so. Let's check the statistics. What do the numbers say? Those that walk away and attempt or actually get into other new, fresh marriages, how long do they last? First of all, is it even easy to get into another marriage after you're formally divorced? For the cohabitants, or like we usually say sometimes, maybe in a bad language, the interns, those who are interning, they're gaining experience until they get permanent placement. It was easy for them because, again, walk away. Those that are legally married, how easy was it for them to get into another marriage? What were the numbers of those? If they got into a second marriage after, this is what the statistics bring. And the statistics are given by Research Center. They're also given by, I'll take an example again, selfishly for my own reasons or whatever it is. I'll take an example of a law firm. It's called Wilkinson and Fishpender in San Diego. There's also, we can look at Berenji as well. And then the Pew Research Center. So it says, when it comes to walking away, those that usually get into the first marriage, between 40 to 50% ends in divorce. Now, what happens with the first marriage is, okay, then if you leave the first marriage and then you get into a new one, a legal one, 60 to 67% of them again divorce. I can hear you. Can you hear me? Can I be heard? Can I be heard?
Briefly, as you wind up with the numbers, I have a question for you, something that I think you can prepare for us would be also, if you could give us some context specific, some of these details from the African context, because the culture and the traditions also differ. But yeah, wrap up as you finish and then we keep going.
All right. Could just confirm you can hear me one more time and then I wrap up.
Yes, I can hear you, or we can hear you.
Yes, surely. So those that got into a second marriage after the first initial divorce, it's between 60 to 67% that again they end up divorcing. Those that got into a third marriage and in the age bracket of between 50 years and 50 and above, they hardly get into a marriage thereafter. And even if they do, 73 to 74% of them end up getting divorced. So I conclude by saying, having seen the history that divorce and walking away is a new thing, but there's always been an expense to it. And the statistics at the end show you the fact that it's your prerogative to walk away. But even when you walk away, in case you're interested in getting into another one, there is no correlation to the fact that walking away from your problems and then you start something afresh is actually a certainty for much better than what you were in, because people have again kept breaking up. Hence, the conclusion that in most cases, people don't even bother to get into other relationships or marriages. So that is my history. Those are the statistics I could give a little bit to add context to this walking away phenomenon. Then lastly, you talked about the African context or something. I must admit, I didn't necessarily look at it much, but I could look up something, put it in the comment section. But at least having visited the history and all those different areas or something, we have something we can maybe look at a little bit. So that is it for now, Emmanuel.
All right, thank you.
Emmanuel.
It's always insightful to have, some of these evolutions, and it helps us to have some understanding, like you said, of how the past influences the current issues at hand. Tumwe CJ, common legal mistakes. Let's start from the home to the workplace to even relationships amongst us as brotherhood. Yes, over.
Emmanuel.
Yes, Emmanuel.
Yes, please. We are back to our question. Thank God we can hear you now. What are the common
Thank
legal
you.
mistakes that men make when they feel hurt or angry?
Now, the most, the most, the most mistake that men are making when they get angry or when sweet love gets sour is punishing the innocent ones. And when a mistake is done on a man, sometimes the innocent people around are the ones that suffer. A woman will do something to a man, and we will end up being in court for a man's failure to pay school fees for his children, for a man's failure to provide for his family or for the children, for a man's failure to look after his children. We forget one thing, that these creatures or these children, oh, one, sour, or when sweet love gets sour, as men we must know that other laws, you cannot allowed because love has gotten sour. The penal code will play on you. You cannot allow to commit murder because love has gone sour. The penal code will still apply on you, because the law will not say because love got sour on your side, the law will not apply. No, the law will still apply. So in whatever situation or when love gets sour, let's always remember not now to commit other crimes that will happen as the result of love. What does that call for? That calls for self-control, which somebody talked about. I can give you a situation of a case I'm handling where a man discovered that the wife was cheating and two of them were together in the same hotel. That night, the man could have done anything to this woman, anything, because two of them were in a hotel. They were sleeping in a hotel. The woman slept off, and some messages came onto the woman's phone, and the man opened them. What he saw almost took him that night. But I loved that man when he came to my office by him saying a statement that I looked at this woman, but I remembered that I still had a life ahead of me and I didn't do anything to her. And even the woman says, that night you could have done anything you wanted to do to me, but thank God you didn't do anything to me. What kind of a man? The man looked at life beyond this woman and knew that there is a legal measure I can take, send this woman away, divorce her, and then I can live a life thereafter. So, one thing we must do, or we must always remember, is that in the times of love getting sour, there is another law that may catch up with you if you act out of emotions or if you act irrational. So there is need to act rational. There is need to act mature as a man. There is need to go an extra mile. It takes a real man, by the way, to go that extra mile, to know and control yourself and say, this time I will not do this. And I think those are the men we are talking to right now. That's why Man Cave is here to create men who go extra mile, who control themselves and say, no, yes, it has hurt me, but I will not go this extra mile and do another crime where the law will now be against. And I can assure you, with the practice that we are facing, these ladies can easily twist anything and the world will believe them against the man. That's why, as a man, you take an extra care and an extra caution on whatever you are going to handle. Because as you're trying to heal emotionally, as you are trying to look at the love that has gone sour, there is a law that will act against you when you're acting with those emotions. We have seen situations where a man is accusing a woman of witchcraft, of being into worshipping ghosts, but you must take that extra caution and know that at this time I'm handling this thing. And when we look at character change, I have failed to learn, and I have I had my elder Herbert, whom I respect so much, saying that people change. There are some people who don't change. There are some people who don't change, most especially when you find as a man you have dated a person with a character of, maybe I don't want to attack women, but when you find you have dated a person with the character of being a prostitute, prostitutes don't change. I have seen men come to my office, and when you go to discover, or if they go to tell you the history, you find that this man, even when he was dating this woman, when this girl was still a girl and they were dating, the girl was showing characters of a prostitute. There's some characters which don't change. So that's why I agree with Helder, but when he says into our Shwera Korachi, Abuza. Let me leave others to contribute. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. I keep losing some speakers that I really want them to talk. David, please, if you are still around, try and ask for the microphone. Mr. Kutesa, I presume, has also fallen off. But this is the Man Cave UG. Please ask for the microphone. The conversations are getting interesting, and we are learning a lot. We need more perspectives to help us to have a better understanding of the issue at hand. Whew. Reverend, I think let me grab a cup of coffee, and then you keep us going. I'll come back. Over to you.
Amanda,
Yes.
there's something that I wanted to say. When we're talking about the love, and when it turns sour. As a man, before you walk away, or you ask a question, what can a man do? Can we do self-reflection and find out what me as a man has contributed to this sourness? Self-reflection. As you plan to find a solution, what should a man do? I think the first point should be self-reflection. What have I contributed to the sourness as a man before you go to the other party? Because we don't have to be so much into blaming the opposite sex, because sometimes we also have our weaknesses.
100%.
And then also the open communication about everything. You know, women usually look for security in any relationship. Their first game is security. But if when you are approaching, you show this woman that everything is okay. If you want a Benz, I'll buy a Benz. If you want a 3-bedroom apartment, I'll do it. Not considering the cost, showing that everything is okay. That's when we talked about the brokenness. Can we be a bit open? And we have open communications and learn to say, no, this I can't do. No, this I can't manage. You know, this has has led to the sourness of some of the relationships. And then there is a reconnecting. Do you think, though there are some things that are hard, you know, obwenzi, over, how do I call it, multiple relationships and the sort. Some people, when they find out, trust usually goes 100%. Reconnecting might become a challenge, but are there activities that you were doing before together? If you used to go out, if you used to go for ice cream and the sort, do you think if you do these activities once again before you make the final decision, can they solve something or bring in any change? Are we still doing this even in times where sourness is coming in? And then professional help. I mean, men here on this man cave group, they are getting actually free professional help with the kind of topics and discussions that are always held every weekend here. But the problem is many of us think that we know where information is. For us, we think somebody cannot tell me what to do. So and so cannot tell me. How do they tell me what to do as a man? That ego of being that for you, you know everything has led to a lot of problems. Whereas our colleagues, like I always say, that even if it means paying and getting money from another man to go and get information and learn something about life, they will go that extra mile because they want to have as much information as possible. That's why even at the space here, we cannot be only men. They want to collect every kind of information that is here, discussed here, and go and share with whoever they are sharing with. They are here. And then walking away should be the last resort for sure. I always believe that the only problem nowadays is men are walking away so easily. So easily. A man should walk away when he really wants to avoid violence. Violence. You know, if it is about violence and the sort, it is okay to walk away as a man because violence is the no-go area. That's why that when they hear violence, you hit a woman or you did something, they will just come and collect you before they even listen to any story. So the thing is, at what point do you walk away? Before you walk away, what have you done? Why are you walking away so easily as a man? Why are we so weak as men? Those days, women used to walk away. But now it is men that are walking away.
We want
and
our
forgetting
peace.
that
We want our peace.
their children involved. There are children involved in whatever relationship we've had. Some it has been just a mere relationship, others are marriages.
Emma,
But there are children being.
once disrespect is served, a man should never sit on that table
Mm.
again.
Yes, it is okay to walk away when such things show up, but not so easily that this I'm annoyed because of I wasn't served juice. I'm annoyed because my water for bathing, they don't iron for me. You know, you talk about things. If all has failed, to avoid violence and mental health issues, because mental health is very important to a man. Once a man is gone, a lot of people are affected. The man has a line of people that they are supporting in one way or the other. It can be them, their family, the other family, the children, and the sort. So once a man's mental health is gone, practically there is no relationship. So for me, the sourness there, you can walk away. I would advise walk away, but don't wait for your mental health to go. And then discuss, before you go, discuss the co-parenting lines. Co-parenting is a big problem in Africa and in Uganda, to be specific. Some of us walk away with a lot of anger and the children suffer. In those developed countries, co-parenting is clear and straight. I still remain with the responsibilities of my children, paying school fees and the rest, and the other bills, even when I have moved on. Those are the few lines I wanted. When things get sour, consider the children, have clear co-parenting lines. That is in case you are really leading to separation. Thank you for listening.
Emma, are you still on? I can't hear you. Are you still
I
moderating?
am here. Yeah, yes, Mwalimu. Yeah. Add your 5 cent, 3 cent, 100, Chikumi.
Thank you so much, Uncle Sam. Of course, like any other uncle would do that. And you learn that the kind of conversations we have here as Man Cave, we're not advocating for anything per se, do this, do the other, because we come back to the terms and our principles for our operation, that there's no one size fit for all, that wisdom, broad perspective-based wisdom is shared here. Men and their experiences as they're being able to manage their families and how that is working for them. But the contexts are different. And yet, it would not be good for you as a man to just work in silos and not consult the men who are here. Because when they speak, they say, we are not just sharing this wisdom out there. We are also offering ourselves as examples to touch base deeply and say, well, you shared this. I would want to try it, but how is it working in your context? If I needed to use it, how would that work in my context? And thank you again, Uncle Sam. Uncle Sam is a team leader of a great men's movement. The man in me, definitely, must have seen the great work they do. The things she's sharing are things that are already being mentored in the young boys and teenagers that gather there during the holidays to learn this, the true manhood, real masculinity, taking responsibility, not going away the easy way, giving it a shot until you really have run out of options. Papa Herbert is here. I mean, again and again, men from different organizations call him students from higher learning institutions coming and gathering on a fireplace at the Ahaka cottages, having just manly conversations, processing relationships, career, talking true masculinity, talking parenting. Some of them are young fathers. Reverend Nathan is here, is always on the move, in and out of the country, mentoring teenagers, mentoring men in corporate spaces and in the community, in faith spaces, advocating for against HIV, but also prevention measures. Emmanuel is here. He's a specialist in research work and gender studies, and many other guest speakers we invite here. I personally am a trained counseling psychologist in Kubi here. He shares from the background of his counseling psychology knowledge integrated with his lawyering work. There's a deep wealth here that is very, very healthy for you to tap into, and you'll be able to get the support. But even the men who have not spoken here, you may know where they belong, the workplaces and things. So use this space, man. Use this time. Things that are not spoken here, you can reach out to someone and process it one-on-one. The testimonies are for encouraging us. They are for building mental resilience and toughness for us to carry on as men, like Uncle Sam said. We don't quit the easy way. We quit when really things have gone out of hand and we're like, no. Now there are no options. Let's save our lives. So I just wanted to add on what he has said, that in every conflict, like you'll agree, and I think Councillor Humphrey said, there are two people involved, you see. Even if me and Emma were the people involved and I had 99.9% of the conflict being my Lord, at least 0.1% or something is his. So we need to look at this thing in perspective for what are we both contributing to what is happening. To blame it all on the other party may also be not fair. So I would like to add on what he has said, that indeed, relationships grow. Papa Herbert will share with us here, like he has already said, before, during, and post. And Papa Herbert raised a very good point where he said, I've also always been challenged that why do we have premarital counseling for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or a month for a marriage that is going to last forever? What happens after the wedding day, the masape, the cake and things? People just choose best man, a best man because they just met at a drinking pub there or at a soccer turf. Papa Herbert will tell you probably the relationship they have, and tomorrow you have a wedding, you pick this guy as a best man. No, he's supposed to do more. There's more responsibility. as a godparent. No, it's not just supposed to stand behind the children because he drives a good car or something. Yeah, that's helpful when they need to step in for fees, but there's much more to what that best man owes the family, owes Papa Herbert, owes the Mugole. So when they say Oshwera Buza, the reason people are invited in the African setting is that it's not just yours alone. It is accountability before people and before God, and from a faith perspective, if I use that because I'm a Christian, that is what it means. And that's why we are saying that when it gets tough, we don't just get out. That's why relationships grow and they evolve. I've learned from men who are married that actually the intel we get before we are married is one thing, but when we get married, or those who are already in marriages, the practical bit is altogether some different kind of thing. You learn on job. You deal with things as they come up. And there's no one size fit for all. What may work in some other marriage may not work in yours. Or if it works, the way it's applied may be different. You have to know how to contextualize it. So I wanted to add on to Uncle Sam's points that relationships evolve. You are two different people, personalities, families, exposure and things, and also things you're learning from the different groups of friends you belong to, maybe that you do not share necessarily at a faith space or in a work community, or where the men's group someone belongs to, the women's group someone belongs to, what they learn, and consolidating all this towards building the vision and the mission of the kind of family, the Mugumya culture, the Mugalu culture, the Sendaula culture. So that means that there is a responsibility on both sides. That Uncle Sam says, I need to be learning my wife, growing with her, seeing how things are evolving, things that are changing, not just holding on to my ego and pride and thinking that's what defines me and masculinity for me as a man, but also masculinity is seen in that patience, in that improving your communication, in that being understanding more than just seeking to be understood, in that also you being able to be expressive of loving more than just seeking to be loved, in you being able to forgive others more than just you seeking to be forgiven, in you, giving more than just seeking to be given. So it's two-way. So I wanted to bring out that this, and the same other side, the woman also ought to be learning, growing in her obedience and submission. And this submission is not just to the man, it is to the Lord first, from the biblical worldview. And then that is what she brings. That is what breaks her heart down. That's what gives her the humility, the patience, the understanding that now to submit to the man is God's instruction to her, not just the man demanding. And doing that first to the Lord and to the man, as the Bible says in Ephesians chapter 5, is actually glorifying God, not just pleasing her husband. But in doing that, her husband is satisfied, her husband is pleased, as the husband is also doing his role of giving a loving headship, giving a joyful headship, giving a supportive and kind headship in that family. So I wanted to bring that point, like Uncle Sam said, that it's evolving, it's learning. It takes away nothing from a man who struggles with communication and is always misunderstood or misjudged, to find out from other men or learn from a professional about basic communication skills. How come whenever I say this, my wife interprets it this way? It always causes scuffles. Is it how I say it? Is it my nonverbals? Is it what actions that follow? So in conclusion, from my part, I meant to say that failure to cultivate, or when we neglect a relationship, when we don't do the things we're meant to be doing, we are done. The relationship dies. So no relationship survives on history alone. You must be able to check in. You must be able to communicate. You must be able to adjust. You must be able to apologize. You must be able to reinforce things that are good, to do away with things that are not good, that are not building the relationship, to be able to continue renewing your commitment, recommitting. Take an example. A father must keep showing up even when the child is not doing the very best of grades, because that's commitment. You never know. It is what is going to help the child see that the security and the safety and the trust and the conviction of this dad that this child is better than this academic grade, that will get that child to where he needs to be, that will improve his self-worth, that will improve his understanding that his masculinity and manhood, and there's much more he's capable of with his talents and skills and gifts as the father reinforces this. An employee must be able to understand that an employer communicating during a financial strain or a struggle delivering on a project helps them to know that they are still worth and valued, their services, their skills, and what is happening in the moment is understandable, but that doesn't define them. That is what upholds and undergirds that relationship. Friends must guard boundaries. For you to know that at this level, Emma is burnt out. Yes, I need him to help me with this beef, but if I press it harder than this, so if I press harder than this, I don't know whether I'll be able to have another chance of actually getting him to help me. What if I crush him and this relationship actually fails? So when you stop tending the relationship, the weeds grow, like someone said. I think it's Papa, but we use that analogy. So we need to be tending the relationship, cultivating it, whatever it is. We must be able to invest in it. There are things that keep a spark in a marriage, in a romantic relationship. The things you did when you were getting this person. I know that women are the ones who normally come out to complain that the man used to do these things. The man used to do. Even if it's money that has reduced, you can't go to the big restaurants. You can create moments. Moments don't have to be necessarily about money. Someone can be able to tell a person who is authentically showing love, committed, even in the meagerness of resources. I know there are times when you have to glide through as duty bound because your mandate is to love this woman, is to protect her, is to keep her safe, is to provide for this family as well. But then there are also times when you are able to bring up the spark, when you make some good money, Uncle Sam will tell you, or other people when they go for a vacation, or even if it's just those things like Papa Albert has been saying, eating together, taking walks together, they're looking at each other, they're just having some simple, low-cost, but deep, authentic, connecting fun. So things will come in relationships, financial hardships, can force school changes, and wife may start saying maybe you're not working hard enough. The son gets into delinquent behavior. Business struggles can shake the employer-employee trust. Comparison creeps in and it's the thief of joy. Expectations collapse under reality, but pressure reveals what the relationship was truly built on in the first place. If it was performative, it collapses under failure. If it was built on convenience, it collapses under inconvenience. If it was built on ego, as the man thinking everything you say is right, you can't have a discussion with your wife. Why is she in your life in the first place? Those children, raising them, parenting them requires both of you. They don't have to be raised as an orphan, yet they have both of you as parents. Like Uncle Sam talked about co-parenting. You may have your qualms. You met each other, you loved each other, something happened, it didn't work out, you separated, but allow the children to experience both of your love and support. Cut down your egos, be humble, and allow the child not to face the wrath of the struggles of youth to the adults. So finally, the deeper truth is, relationships go sour when clarity is absent, when reciprocity is missing, trust is broken, depth is shallow, selfishness dominates. When cultivating it stops, pressure exposes weak foundations. Even if there were sweet beginnings. But what happens? We sustain or we rebuild by intentional communication, like other men have just said. Emotional maturity. Don't react. Respond. Some of us are just, we shout at anything. And when we meet those that we can be able to exert our pressure and ego on, we crush them, because now it's where we put the displacement of anger. You get annoyed at work and you come and fire your wife, fire your children, fire who? Let's nurture forgiveness. We have a saying in Unyankole, the There are some men, there are some people whose pride is in how much they get angry or usungu. But look, you know, it breaks you. It takes a lot from you. Yet we can nurture rhythms of forgiveness because all of us are human and human is to err. But God forgives. If God has forgiven you, why don't you forgive your son? Why don't you forgive your wife? Why don't you forgive your husband? Why don't you forgive your employee? Why don't you have a benefit of doubt? Let's have character formation, shared values. Do you have non-negotiables you stand for? That people say, Emmanuel Mensah Kojo stands for this. And this is him. You don't mess with him about this. Do we have patience to understand our people in this relationship through the seasons of toughness when it's going sour? Why do you think you're the only one who is right? Like Uncle Sam said, have you done an investigation to know, you know, where's my part? What do I need to change? And that continuous cultivation is what sustains it and builds it. So finally, the question maybe we need to ask as we go towards the conclusion, I give it back to you, Emma. Instead of asking, why did it go sour? We need to also ask ourselves, what was it truly built on in the first place? The foundation could have been shaky, but we have an opportunity to rebuild again. Thank you. Over to you, man.
All right. Thank you, Mwalimu. It feels good hearing from you. Wherever you find yourself, please go and ask any bushera seller to get you 1 cup. I'll pay them when I grow old. Reverend, over to you.
You are sweetening our friendship again. Emma, I can't hear you. I hope people are able to hear you.
I had given it to Reverend. Let's go to David. David, the microphone is yours. You can build up on your own observations, what you've heard, but also how do we move forward from here? Over.
Thank you very much, members, and I'm honored and privileged to be here today as we discuss this matter. I'm so thankful to Nkubi for having given us the historical perspective to how, you know, evolution of marriages have happened. And I'm so also thankful to the other gentleman, the lawyer, to Mwesije. He brought in the perspective of men, you know, being attentive to be attentive to the futuristic aspects where you may go into legal matters when issues or challenges come to you, especially if you beat a woman or like your violence comes in. But I wanted to also to give another perspective of the historical sense of the two people that are going to be involved. Lately on TikTok, there is a girl I landed in, and she was crying, talking about how her mom, you know, kept her in memory of her father not contributing a thing to her life, and to the extent that even her sisters in the new marriage or relationship that she was, her sisters and brothers knew that she wasn't born here. Now, men and women grow to marry these historical emotions of broken people, because it's not isolated to this young girl, but it also runs to we, the men, as well. She's crying, her emotional stance is so affected, and then you learn into this girl. So the history is quite important about the person you're going to marry, because it determines the quality of the woman you'll have. It determines the quality of the husband that you'll have. And maybe I wish also to be corrected. In light with women being decisive on whatever happens, like personally, I came to a realization that without a woman's decision, a marriage can't happen. It can't be. they are like, they are the tapestry of this journey, this marriage journey. With their decision, it either collapses or it continues. So they seem to be having so much power that they take lightly that the consequences are upon children, the husband, they are on their heads, but they don't seem to observe it. I beg to be corrected. You realize that that more money or more power with a woman leads to, you know, to separation, basically, you know, and then the males or the husbands are not paid attention to in light with that understanding. I'm not saying that it's isolated to women. Even men, when they get more power or more money, certainly, or sometimes they just, you know, get additions of other women. But I wish to hear from you about those perspectives, but my understanding is that we seem to have to go back to the original foundations of our marriage systems, where families used to book girls when they are young, and so the other family would know that this, we are paying bride price for this girl till when our boy will marry her. I don't know, but I would wish to hear from you from that perspective if it can help. Thank you very much.
Thank you, David. I'm not quite sure why, Reverend. Okay, Reverend, let me take charge. When we can hear you, you just come through. Elder Herbert, as you give your final word, you may want to help David address some of the questions he has. Yes, Clive, I think are you joining us from where? Zimbabwe, wherever? Over to you. What are your thoughts on today's topic, and what is the way forward?
All right, thank you. Yes, I'm originally from Zimbabwe. Right now I'm in the US. I've been joining MenCave spaces. I think it's 6 months now, whenever I grab a chance, because the amount of wisdom and knowledge I get from here, and also getting to hear other people's experiences, it's priceless, and I cannot trade it for anything. I actually appreciate being part of the movement. My few thoughts. Can you guys hear me before I continue?
Loud and clear.
Awesome. My contributions to this topic, right? You see that when you round them up, they will still come back to point out how much this movement is important, and how much, you know, a lot of men can actually do benefit from just being like online, join the space when it happens, and then learn all this much. Because one thing for sure, you don't learn all this knowledge and all this wisdom from any class or any classroom or any school. This is, you know, really profound. So if I'm to look at I'll look at the topic, and I also, you know, add and probably also react to a few contributions I've been listening to for the past hour. There is something that we sometimes get to forget, which is very, very important. And I feel like if you look at it from, like, you know, a deeper perception, you see that it could be the root to which all these issues are stuck on. So from Africa, you see that back in the day, I can easily assume like a lot of the elders on this space right now could have been subject to that. But back in the day, you see that a girl was born and raised into a family, and half the time she was just protected by a family to make sure she doesn't, you know, fall prey to, men out there who could just take advantage of her. She was protected, and she was being molded so that whenever she is of age to get married, whoever gets married to that girl finds a wife who is pure, who is, just pure and innocent and ready and willing to be a wife and a mother. So pretty much she's a girl, then she gets married, that transforms her to a wife, and then she gives birth, then that makes her a mother. On the other side, a man's process was different because a boy was raised facing the challenges. A boy would go out to head cattle. A boy would go out hunting with the elders. A boy would go out, wake up at 3 a.m., go into the fields. A man was being taught responsibility. And the process of transforming a boy into a man did not just come from having a child. It came from being molded into a man. It came with responsibility. It became with being taught how to be responsible. Now, when people get into a relationship and into a marriage, naturally it's assumption of duty. Because when you become a husband, you're supposed to provide for your family, and you provide everything. You provide financially, you provide emotionally, you provide, security to both the kids and the mom. It is just your responsibility. On the other side, as a wife, you're supposed to also provide what you provide as a wife, as a mother, but you feel safe in the security that is provided by the man. Now, the biggest challenge we've had, especially in this modern day era, so partially there was the emergence of, feminism. Feminism, in its initial, opinion, in its initial nature, it was a good movement. It was empowering women, challenging women to also get in the workplace and all that. But then it also gave birth to this radical wave, where the women that the men were used to was getting changed into this more opinionated person, into this more talking back, into this more, individual person who was also being granted this type of independence. So because at that point, a lot of men were not really used to that type of, situation. When you're married to a wife who is challenging you in all these ways, it started making some of these men feel emasculated, and it hurts the ego. So we have a time where men were just, jumping out of the marriages because of that situation. But that also left a lot of sons that were being raised by single mothers. It also left a lot of children who did not have proper guidance of elderly men, and, who were being molded into proper men who could take challenges. Now, when we come to this conversation we are having right now, a lot of times, a lot of these men who are in marriages are not men when it comes to defining a man by what the duty is, what the responsibility is, and how to have a strong backbone so that whenever you meet any challenges in your home with your wife, you're able to stand your ground firm, to not give up, and to make sure you fix whatever needs fixing. We have statistics that are actually showing a lot of men are committing suicides. They're committing suicides over issues that literally can be discussed and solutions can be found. But they are not strong enough, and they are not built on that solid rock to be able to function as a proper man. So now we also have a situation where I think someone was mentioning earlier on that, you don't have to get to a point of violence. The violent reaction, a lot of these men are acting like women in the sense that they are reacting to situations emotionally. A lot of these men are doing this because they did not have that governance of men, that proper guiding that comes from elderly men. I would say a lot of African men right now in their 60s, 70s, also maybe in their late 50s, a lot of these men went through the liberation wars and all that. They are solid, they're strong, and they can tell you that if we were able to go and fight A, B, C, D, there's nothing that you can't fix in your own marriage or own household. So these kids, these young men that are getting married right now, what actually makes them men is the fact that they now have a wife, is the fact that they now have a baby. It's not the fact that they can actually address a problem and be able to articulate like, okay, fine, what do I need to do? What strategies do I need to incorporate as a man? And what do I need to do to make sure that my marriage survives? Then another thing, I've always encouraged my friends who been married, I think the past 6, 7 years, everyone who gets married, whenever we have these boy talks before the marriage or even after they get married, I tell them like, treat a marriage as a separate savings account that you and your wife both deposit into. Now, one thing for sure, the money in the bank will keep going up the more you put money into the bank, which means the marriage will keep growing the more you put work into it. Now, if you stop putting money in a bank account, the amount will not go up. So if you don't put work into that marriage, it won't grow. And if you leave the same amount in that bank for a year, if you leave $1,000 in your savings account today, at the end of the year, you see there's $950 because of bank charges. So if you don't put your work into your marriage for a whole year, you see at the end of the year, it would have depleted from where you last put the work. Why? Because things happen every day. People grow, you see new friends, things at work happen. So all these things actually take a toll on your marriage. And it is your responsibility and your duty to make sure that you put that work into that marriage. At the end of the day, I think someone also mentioned that sometimes when the sour begins, you need to figure out where it happened. You also need to figure out, who is at fault. You also need to realize, okay, hey, what needs fixing? That can sound practical and that actually can work, but that is if that man who is in that marriage is standing on solid ground. That is if that man, before they got into that marriage, they were actually groomed to be a man, to be able to face, the emotional fluctuations that women go through every day because of their hormonal nature and stuff like that. To actually realize that I'm a man and I'm supposed to be I'm supposed to put my 100% to make sure that my family is a success. It is, and I repeat this. I want to highlight some statistic that was mentioned earlier on about divorce rates. They're high. I'm in the US right now, and divorce rates are high, and that will signify, one thing. Most of these divorce rates are initiated by women, right? And if we look at the main reason for the divorce rates is because these women say, I'm not happy. The problem is the definition of happiness they'll be alluding to is what was making them happy in college. Is what was making them happy when they were still single. They would tell you like, I don't seem to never find some me time. I never seem to have time to do things that I love. Meanwhile, on the men's side, the definition of happiness has to change the moment you say I do when you're meeting someone. Your priority becomes your family. So when your family is happy and well catered for, you are happy. Going out with the boys is now something that you do once in 2 months or whatever, but that doesn't make you happy anymore. You can't go out and have fun with your boys when you know the electricity is going to be cut off in a week. But making sure that the house is paid for, the water is running, the electricity is there, it gives you some sense of satisfaction. So that means if your family is happy, you are happy. Now, when your family is not happy, you start feeling as a failure as a man. Meaning even a divorce can sound or look like it's failure on your part, because if you're doing everything right, that means your woman was never going to walk away. So these are the things that we need to flush out of our minds and make sure we get the proper grooming and the proper education before we actually leap into marriage, so that when the marriage issues start coming up, we know how to balance our feet. Thank you.
Thank you, my brother from Zimbabwe. Reverend, if there is anything, otherwise, I think Chairman, Chairman is back, just to have some response to a few questions from David, and then probably if there is no more speakers, I think he can help us close today's session. Reverend, you have any other question? Otherwise, Chairman, over to you.
Yes, Chairman, kindly take over and as we conclude.
Thank you so much. Zaza kamala okwogerako n'abaami. Genda mugira muzanyo.
Sebo tukuwulidde.
Sebo kubidde mbugayo wano.
Lwaki mukola ebintu ebyo?
Kansooke njogereko n'abaami genda mugira muzannya. We just love the intentional parenting.
Yes. First of all, I've learned a lot. My notebook here is filled with the knowledge and the wisdom that has been bestowed upon us. And I want to appreciate the team. The question and greetings to my friend from down in Zimbabwe. Amazing Clive there. And I saw a sister from Rwanda, Jackie Lumbasi. Thanks for being here. And I've seen my other friend from Namibia and Botswana and one from Lesotho. Greetings, revolutionary greetings. David asked a very pertinent question. He said, why is it that when people get money, if it's the women, when they get power, they leave, or even when the men get money and power, they actually tend to leave their marriages? David, the question you asked was not about marriage. It is called identity under expansion. And I want to speak it in four folds. I pray the time allows me to. See, expansion exposes the original blueprint. Most marriages or relationships are oftentimes built at a certain capacity level. So two people meet when their confidence levels match, when their ambition levels match, when their insecurities, when your insecurities actually match, when your trauma levels match. Now, when one partner scales or expands in terms of finance, in terms of social circles, psychologically, the internal infrastructure shifts. So if, David, your relationship was built on scarcity bonding, survival mode, or dependency, or shared limitation, what happened? Ariwa, just a minute.
Yes, Emmanuel, can you hear Chairman?
Sorry, I'd actually paused. Zaza, tula no enkulabira. Tula no enkulabira. So, apologies, comrades.
Parenting is a 24/7 job, brother.
Yes, you don't have to leave it. So the abundance creates friction in most relationship, not because abundance is bad, but because growth exposes misalignment. And for every man who is here, when you're growing and you don't take your partner with you, growth exposes misalignment. See, money removes the excuses and power removes the filters. That's why you're in position to speak to your wife or to your partner the way you want to. Then the other thing we need to also be critical about is that status changes social gravity. When someone gains money or influence, their environment changes, their peer group changes, their options increase, and their exposure increases. So a perception gap forms. That is why in leadership they teach us that on some occasions we must always go with our spouses. The goal is to cover up this perception gap, not necessarily moral failure, but a perception gap. So the question here a man would ask is, Did we grow together, or did one of us outgrow the container? Because there comes a time when you feel your wife does not deserve you. When you feel now you have to go around with the Safinas who are very brown, they have looked us, they are cavicious, they are more educated, they speak Fanelo English, and that's what you want to go for. And yet you have a wife at home. So as leaders, it's incumbent on us that we have to grow our spouses. It's upon us. Then the third element to this Seneda. Money removes, account expands. So many people who are loyal to marriage, they were actually not loyal to discipline. So power will test discipline more than poverty could ever do. And finally, it's an issue of identity upgrade. Now, here is the deeper layer to this answer. Some partners leave not because they hate their spouses, but they leave because their new identity no longer fits their old life. If someone secretly felt small, controlled, unseen, underachieving, and out of the blue, money gives them a new governance structures, wealth conversations, psychological upgrade systems, and influence boundaries. Because when abundance arrives in your home, if there is no structure, chaos will follow. Those are my humble thoughts about that, my dear brother David, and every man who has been here. It's been such an honor. Today I've learned a lot, and I really want to appreciate the team for the work done and shared, the elders and the men who have taken time to share deeply. As Mankev, we appreciate you and we thank you. Enjoy the rest of the weekend.
Yes, thank you,
Thank you,
Chairman.
everyone. Yeah.
Yes, Emmanuel, can you hear me?
Yes, please, Reverend.
Oh, yes. Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, all the listeners and our followers of the Man Cave UG. We do not take it for granted. It's an honor having you. It's an honor having you, having us part of your program every Saturday morning and other days when we call upon you to attend some of these meetings. We are aiming at moving as a team. Collectivism. When one of us is not well, all of us are not well. That's why we take time every Saturday morning and other days to come here and have these conversations. Until all of us are okay, we cannot be okay. As we go into this weekend, objectivity and intentionality in our relationships. We cannot simply grow emotionally and not grow intentionally. We have to balance that. As the men out there, Chairman concluded it very well, growing with our spouses, say that at the end of the day, electricity of the man is directly proportional to the electricity of the woman. We are raising against entitlement the feeling of I should receive, but I should never get. I should never give anything. And at the end of it all of us should be well. Do not die on job. You are not a bulb. Don't die on job like a bulb. When it gets worse, when it gets sour, and you feel friction is too much, you can no longer handle, kindly reach out. Reach out to the team. The team is here. Reach out. How better shall you be when you're dead? How better shall you be when you finally break down? Reach out to the team. We are here for you. As a priest, one of my jobs is to bury the dead, and actually that's part of my JD. But I feel very bad burying people that I should have healed. Do not be a client for burial, be a client for healing, and all together we can all be better. Don't burn yourself to keep your spouse warm on this Valentine's Day. I know it's still the school fees week. We are still struggling with school fees, so do what is within your means. Don't burn yourself. And remember, it's not only today that you should manifest love. Build a relationship based on principles, on purpose, on intentionality, on clarity, and on symbiotism, not parasitism. Until next time, we wish you well. We pray that the Lord shall bless us this coming week, that all of us shall work and see the blessings of God and see the hand of the Lord in whatever that we are going to do. And we pray that the Lord shall manifest his presence upon us and grow day by day as we continue improving. Quality improvement, so that at the end of the day, none of us shall feel lost in the journey. We are the Man Cave team. Until next time, have a good time. Mungu awabariki sana.
Asante sana ndugu yangu. Barikiwa pia. Kwaherini
Amina,
jameni.
amina, amina.